Sagittarius, welcome into the channel. I hope you're doing well. I got my kitty attire on for the fire signs for the full moon in Leo, right? So this full moon is about communication, courage, creativity, being unapologetically you. And it's interesting. Could be a little drama. I will say some of the readings, the fire signs are the last ones for me to do. And today is February 1st. The full moon does peak Eastern Standard Time at 5:08 today. Some of the readings have been a little rough, but I guess needed. So we're going to see what happens with you. So basically, I want to find out, how does this full moon affect your romantic life? Always remember to take what resonates and throw out what doesn't. If nothing resonates, check out your other sign placements. Truthfully, you could probably find yourself in any of the 12 zodiacs. We all embody any of those signs at any given time. Even if we don't have a planet placement, it doesn't matter. We all 12 signs are affiliated with every part of our life. We have a house. So if you don't understand that, the astrology there, just, Google the astrology houses. And then you can find, yours. If you have your, birth certificate, you can find all that information out. Okay. What do we got for Sagittarius for the full moon? We are already currently in this energy. We have been for a few days already. But it is peaking soon. Oh, nice. You're currently 9 of Pentacles. Get it. Crossing you, 6 of Wands. Root, 8 of Pentacles. Past, 4 of Wands. Okay, your higher self is 9 of Pentacles. Somebody else had 8 of Wands in the exact same position. Dang, I can't remember who. Currently, the Fool outside of you. Ooh, 5 of Swords. There might be a little drama. Hopes and Fears, Queen of Pentacles. Outcome, Queen of Cups. Okay. All right, Sagittarius, so you, and not surprising, really, you're independent. You look good, right? You've achieved a lot in your life. You are very self-sufficient. 9 of Pentacles is a very independent energy, okay? So that's not bad. That's good. You're doing your thing. I like that. Crossing you is the 6 of Wands. It gives me this feeling that because you're so independent, you might have struggle with romantic situations, and it could fall back to you being so independent. I can tell you, when you're independent, especially a female, and again, I could be talking to masculine as well. There's no gender, but for women, when they are extremely independent, men have a tendency to look at you as, she doesn't need me. Look, she makes her own money. She does everything. I mean, if she needs something fixed in her house, she either pays for it or she knows how to fix it. What does she need me for? And that does cause a problem. And just because we are independent and self-sufficient, doesn't mean we always want to be that way. Sometimes we do want help. So I feel like that could be part of the problem. So the overall root of this whole situation, you've got the Eight of Pentacles. It's giving me a vibe of, maybe you pour a lot into work, right? Which Nine of Pentacles, I mean, that's Pentacles, right? That's tangible world. It's material, money, finances, things you can, it's just real world, living in the real world, doing your thing. And, you might be focusing, maybe too much on work, and you're not ready to put your efforts into a relationship, kind of like I was saying with the challenge. The challenge is, maybe you're not as successful in the romantic department because you're always so busy working. In the recent past, you had the Four of Wands. So this makes me feel like, Four of Wands, you either were married in the past or you were in a high-level commitment. It was maybe you were living with somebody. It could be one of those type of situations. This is a collective reading, so it could be any of those situations in your past. Your higher self, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So you're not in a rush. You're definitely, your higher self is like, I'm not in a rush for any kind of commitment, okay? You're being very conservative with your energy, I feel. And I think it's because in the past, you were either married, in a commitment, you were living with somebody. Now you're kind of on your own. You're probably living on your own. You're not attached to anybody right now. And so, yeah, you're not, like I said, you're not really focused on a commitment. In the near future, you've got the Eight of Wands. Well, there's going to be probably some fast communication coming in. Maybe a quick decision is made in the near future. We're going to have to clarify that, but something's going to speed up. Communication or action. You currently are feeling full, free, baby. You are the full, you're adventurous. That's you, Sagittarius. You do like to wander off, you do like to have your freedom. And so that could be part of the problem too, is maybe whatever situation you were in is you didn't feel as free. You didn't feel as independent, and a lot of people forget, when you're in relationships, sure, great, you're in a relationship, but that doesn't mean you lose your independence. And so you may have been in a situation where you felt you lost your independence, and now you're like free. You're on that swing, baby. You're swinging, doing your thing, new adventures, being the fool again, having fun. Okay. So the others outside of you, now this could be whoever was in your past, whoever you live with, you were married to, in a commitment with, whatever. Okay, Five of Swords. Well, they want to argue with you. Okay? They're stressed out. They want to argue. They're mentally tore up over maybe the fact that you're doing so well independently. Okay? Your hopes and fears. You've got the Queen of Pentacles. it gives me this sense that you hope to be able to at some point open back up again to relationships, right? Your struggle, I feel like I said, is with commitments, and that's because of whatever you came out of. But you do hope to be able to be caring and open back up again, and to be grounded, right? So you're currently the Fool, you're out having fun, but you do hope to eventually settle back down, and to be able to open up and feel nurturing and grounded, and to settle back down, really. The future outcome is the Queen of Cups. Well, it does feel like you in the future could find yourself opening back up, being loving again to a possible, relationship. But I don't know what this Five of Swords is. Like I said, you've got somebody around you that's wanting to argue. So it could very well be you're just, during this full moon, still dealing with a little drama about you being independent, out on your own, doing your own thing, and maybe that bothers somebody. They really wanted you to depend on them, and it doesn't feel like you are. So let's go to, I'm just gonna, let me back up. Let's get a little bit about this Four of Wands in the recent past. Tell me about the Four of Wands in the recent past. Let's give me a little bit more, please. No, boo-boo, that's my water. Talking to my dog. All right, tell me about this Four of Wands in the recent past for Sagittarius. There's a Six of Wands again. Ace of Pentacles. Seven of Wands. Yeah. Ooh. This feels like maybe someone tried to, in this whatever commitment was, it feels like somebody may have tried to come in and propose to you. So you may not have actually been married in this situation. Some of you, I think somebody wanted to propose to you. They were coming in. They thought, oh, this is it, But I think you felt that they were only doing that to claim territory. So I don't think you felt it was genuine, right? It was like they just wanted to, or they had given you a ring. So I'm also getting this as well. They had given you a ring to kind of like stake territory down on you, but it was like they didn't really move out. It was like putting a ring on it just to tag it, right? It wasn't that they were serious about getting married. So they gave you the ring to kind of shut you up, is what it feels like a little bit, right? but it wasn't like they were serious. And I don't think you appreciated that. This seems like it's kind of specific. Yeah, and it's like they're very ego based, like you're mine, but yet Sagittarius, you like to be very free, right? You're an independent, you're adventurous, you like to go do things. And I think that they were caught up in their ego thinking they could put a ring on it, saying, hey, Sagittarius is mine. But I don't think they really went through with, the plans of you guys planning out the marriage and actually getting married. So it was kind of like you were living with them. That's what I'm getting. So this is getting a little more specific. It's you were living with them and they put a ring on it, but it was like, well, why am I going to go through the marriage? I'm already living with Sagittarius. Yeah, I gave you a ring. Why do we need to actually go through the ceremony? Why do we actually need the paperwork? But it was definitely to keep you tied down, and that's what you're struggling with, is the fact that they were in their ego. And so you were like, no, nope, not happening. And that's why your higher self is saying, you know what, you're not ready to do, you're not ready to maybe communicate with this person, even though the communication is coming in fast in the near future. That's what it is. You're not really ready to communicate, and it's ticking them off, because that's the outside with the Five of Swords. That's fighting, right? That's, disputes and conflict and arguments. And I think that's what's happening. Oh boy. They got something to learn when they're dealing with a Sagittarius, that's for sure. Yeah, right at the bottom of the deck, I'm looking at the Death card. Scorpio energy, like, done. I think you're like, no, I've given you enough time. I've lived with you long enough. You put a ring on it, but you weren't serious. You didn't want to go through with the plans of actually getting married. They just wanted to keep you tied down, living with them. And you're like, no, bottom of the deck, done. Interesting. I was told to look down. All right, wow. So let's go to this Eight of Wands, this recent or near future. Quick communication, quick action, quick decisions. Suddenly maybe they want to come in and make progress. They suddenly want to come in and be real. Tell me about this. Eight of Wands for Sagittarius in the near future. Let's get a little more. Sun, Five of Cups. Oh boy. Oh boy. King of Wands. You could be dealing with another fire sign. It doesn't have to be. But look, so in the near future, and it could be around this full moon, the full moon energy does last, like I said, kind of like it could be up to a week before and even a week after, but regardless, this communication is going to start to come in fast, right? So you're going to have this King of Wands, possibly, doesn't have to be, coming in, and they're sad. Five of Cups is because there was a breakup, right? They're like, oh man, I don't like this, breakup, you're my happiness. Please, you're my sunshine. It's like they want to come in smooth talking you. So the King of Wands is bold. They can be very smooth, very attractive. They see normally when they're in, I want to say, healthy energy, the King of Wands has the vision, right? They see the future vision. They have, they look ahead into the future, right? Where, you know, there was a reading I just did and I can't remember who. I'm sorry. You know, I've been doing all kinds of readings and I can't remember. But I think it was the same thing. It was the vision. I can't remember who. But anyway, they want to come in because they're sad. You know, they're all tore up now, you know. They've lost their happiness, right? So Sagittarius, you were clearly their happiness, right? But they weren't going through with it, you know, and now it's like they want to come in and they want to, you know, speak boldly about, you know, hey, you're my sunshine, you know, I'm seeing the light now, you are my light, and this is going to be coming in. They're going to be smooth talking you. And that's because they're sad over the breakup. Okay. I don't know. Let's go to the Fool for you. Tell me about the Fool. What is going on with Sagittarius in this adventurous freedom energy? What is this? Fool, please. Give me more. Are you kidding me? The Fool clarified by the Fool. What? You are serious about your freedom. That's twice. 2 majors. You're like, no. You are dead serious about your freedom and starting a new journey. Holy cow. I got chills. 9 of Swords. Queen of Wands. Oh, that's you, baby. Whoa. So you got the Fool twice. You've got the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Swords. So this feels like you're like, oh, I've had enough sleepless nights. I've had enough anxiety over, you know, I guess maybe trying to get this person to move out and forward with what they were trying to do, right? By, you know, trying to putting a ring on it to keep you. You're done with the fact that they didn't actually move out on it. And you're like, Fool again, Queen of Wands. I'm now going to be bold back with you. I am feeling good. I want new opportunities. I want to take a leap of faith into a new direction. You know, you're like, confirmation, new direction, being the Fool again. You are done. You don't want to be foolish anymore. You felt foolish in this situation. They made you feel like a fool because they gave you this ring. They had this promise and you were living together and you're like, okay, let's move forward. You know, maybe you were in an apartment. You're like, let's, you know, get married and now let's, you know, purchase a home together. You know, the 4 of Wands, an actual home. And you had enough of the sleepless nights and worrying and trying to get this person to see what it was you wanted to do. You know, it's like you did this, but you're not pulling through with it. You're done. You don't want to be foolish. You want to be the Fool, positive, adventurous, and getting back out there, you know, because you're done. Oh, all right. 5 of Swords. What is this person, you know? What is this person, you know, trying to say to Sagittarius? What is this? Five of Swords. What's going on here with this Five of Swords? Do you hear all that? I feel like that's your phone blowing up right now with messages. Oh, Lord, we've got the Four of Cups. Yeah. Two of Cups. Oh my gosh. Eight of Pentacles. You remember that was the whole root, was the Eight of Pentacles. You were focusing on work. You stopped focusing on commitment, and it could be because they weren't really serious. So look, Four of Cups, Two of Cups, Eight of Cups. Man, they are, they didn't realize that you were a gift. You know what I'm saying? You were a gift from the divine. Now they're bored without you. You know, they're like, oh, you know, I feel I've lost my partner, right? My partner in crime. I feel like I've lost him. I'm ready to put the work in. I'm ready now to put the work in. I don't know how you truly feel. I mean, it feels that you're like, no, I don't want to be the fool. I want to be the fool in a new journey. You know, this could change at any time, but yeah, now all of a sudden they want to come in and put the work in. They're like, you know, I feel the same as you. I do. I really want to get married. You know, let's go get that house together. You know, let's have kids together. Whatever that discussion was for you. They're bored without you. They feel, oh my God, I've missed this wonderful opportunity with a wonderful Sagittarius. And now they're going to be rushing in. Like I said, you're my happiness. I'm sad. I'm in sorrow. Oh my goodness. Let's go to this outcome for you, the Queen of Cups. It looks like you could possibly open back up to them. But let's see. Because they're putting it on. I can tell you that twice. And you heard my phone constantly blinging. So they're like, you know, it's almost as if they're not going to give up until you talk to them. So what is this Queen of Cups for the outcome? You might heal it. You might heal it. We've got Justice, Seven of Cups. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, see, and your hopes and fears was, you know, the Queen of Pentacles. You were hoping to be able to be grounded and sensible and caring and open back up, you know, to be more practical about the situation. You know, it feels here that if this person comes in and does the right thing, they clear up any confusion, right, about really coming in to work with you, all right? Because, you know, justice is about, you know, being fair, justice and fair, coming in and being truthful, doing the right thing. You know, if they can come in and clear up all the confusion, okay, with all these cups of confusion, right? Because they, you know, made you think they wanted to marry you. They put the ring on it, but they didn't go through with it, you know, or, you know, buying a house together. It could be a multitude of things. But if they can show that they're truthful about coming in and being realistic, collaborating, working as a team, no confusion, okay, this is what we're doing, this is a plan, you could show some compassion and you could be open to healing this. Even though right now, you know, you're feeling adventurous and, you know, being the fool and doing your thing, in the future, if they're able to, because it looks like they're going to be sweating bullets, like they are going to be coming in, communicating everything you want to hear. But I think it's, can you really not be cause confusion? Can you be serious about this? You may actually open up to this, because they're laying it on thick, you know, but they didn't think that you were going to roll out either, you know. So sometimes, you know, it can cause a shakeup, you know, when somebody realizes that they feel that they may have lost their partner, their Two of Cups, you know, the one that they love. But if they love, you know, they need to make good on what they're promising. What else do we have in here for Sagittarius? But it does look like you guys could be a matching pair with the King of Wands and Queen of Wands. You know, you could both be fire signs. What else do we have in here, please? What else does Sagittarius need to know? So we've got the secret crush, we've got mystery, and we have unexpected. So I feel like with the mystery, it's kind of like you didn't know what their true intentions were, right? So they've given you a gift, or they've given you a solid offer of something that they didn't pull through on. And, you know, Seven of Cups, it was always confusion of, where are we really going, right? What's really happening here? So it was always a mystery, but I think you're going to realize it's going to feel unexpected to you that, you know, they've always had a thing for you. It's, you know, they've always had a crush on you. You've always been somebody, and again, it didn't feel like, it was like they always wanted to protect you from moving on, but they were never really clear. And I feel like they've always had something for you, right? They may just didn't move out on it, right? Like they should have. And it's going to be unexpected to you, because I think you're like, what is really happening? They always put you through stress and heartbreak, and, you know, it always felt like it was going somewhere, but it didn't. And I think this person just has trouble opening up about how they really feel and where they really want to go. They want you, so they're going to do something, you know, to keep you there, but it wasn't enough, so you bailed out. But it looks like that's going to change. So what angel number do we have here for this situation? Renewal. What did I say? I thought that there was a chance. 890, you are experiencing renewal and fresh beginnings. Release the past and embrace the opportunities for growth and transformation ahead. You know, while you're, in your freedom state right now, you're experiencing your freedom. You're learning more about yourself, and it's almost as if you're proud of yourself for not sticking around because there was so much confusion. So it's almost you learned to not put up with what they were putting out. And so you said, I'm out. And it taught you to not just accept what they were doing and accept what they were, doing. And so it woke them up. You stood your ground and you said, I'm out. I'm going to go do my own thing, living life, doing new things. You may have done a little traveling. Who knows? Hung out with your friends, or guys, guy or girl, you take it as it resonates. But now this whole situation is, the root was the Eight of Pentacles was working. And not only were you focused on yourself working, it forced this person to come in to work with you on the connection by you walking away. And like I said, there's possible renewal right here, you opening back up. But they got to come in and show that they're serious. And I think that's what all this communication is going to be, is them kind of breaking down, getting uncomfortable. I think this person hides themselves. That's part of mystery as well, as they don't really open up a whole lot. And so now you walking away is kind of forcing this person to be like, oh no, Sagittarius, no, please don't leave. No. I'm serious about this. And, I think this is going to be unexpected to you. I don't think you're thinking this is going to happen, but it's going to happen. So, Sagittarius, I hope this was helpful to you. If anything resonates, drop a comment, hit the like button, share, subscribe. And until the next time, I'll talk to you soon.